Do you love the Grimdark galaxy of the 41st millennium, but you need a little break from your bolter? Well, today we're going to be talking about 5 video games that I really enjoy playing, and I would recommend to 40K players. We'll talk about why as well. So let's dive into it, but first, let's have a word from our sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by me and my company, Tartary Press. This is the company that manages both my writing career and Readers That Wargame. And we've got a couple big announcements. You might have actually heard last week that our website is up and running. And that's true. We also have some really cool merch on there. That's www.tylertartar.com. I'll have it pop up right here for you. And there you'll be able to get Readers That Wargame merch, all of my books, and merch related to my books as well. So make sure you go check that out. But to make it even better, we also have the Readers That Wargame Patreon that is available now. So you can go to the link in the description to the Patreon and check that out. We have some really cool tiers going with just a basic $2 tier where you get early access to each video. My goal is to have those early accesses come out on Friday, so you have the entire weekend to watch them before they go live for everyone else on Tuesday. We have a $5 tier where you get to vote on at least 2 of the episodes each month so that you can see what you want to see on this channel. And I'm super excited to have a lot more availability with you guys so that you can make those votes and choose and be more involved in this channel as well. We also have a $10 tier. This $10 tier includes everything from the first 2 tiers, but it also includes access to our community Discord and our community army. As you guys may remember from some of our posts and things like that on the channel, we've been building a custom army together using the polls, and I'm going to start naming units after you guys. At the $10 tier, it will be just a standard infantry unit, but there's a 4th tier. This one, honestly, if you guys want to do this, I appreciate it a lot. I don't expect it, but that one is the War Master tier. That tier is $100 a month, but you will be one of the main characters in the army. And on top of that, each quarter when I create a new shirt, you will get a copy. So make sure you guys go and check out that Patreon as well as our website to get really cool merch, access to my books, and on the Patreon, access to all of the videos early, community discords, and things like that. And let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below or on Patreon so that we can make this even better for all of you. Now let's get back to the video. So today we're going to be talking about some epic games that meet a few criteria for us. First, it needs to be a large-scale war game, whether that be a 4X game or a first-person shooter or a third-person shooter. That doesn't matter, but as long as there's large-scale war, that's what we're looking into. On top of that, we're looking for some faction tension and some politics, and whether or not those are directly done by the player or are background elements of the game, they need to be there. They need to be enough lore and background for us to really get immersed in the game, which isn't actually super common anymore these days. Next, we're looking for that grimdark feel, whether that be in a historical or a modern sense. That doesn't really matter. But as long as we get that strategy and we get the control and drive for conquest or for success or for whatever that may be, as long as that drive for war is there and we get a little bit of that grimdark itch scratched for us, that helps a lot as well. And finally, if it actually scratches the hobbyist itch as well, that's important. Now, video games are going to require you to go paint models, but if there's different build stratagems or different routes to success that drive you for customization, whether that be just an aesthetic thing or a strategic thing, that helps as well. So let's get this list started off. I do have them in no particular order, just the order they came to me in. So don't take this as a best versus worst situation. They're just the 5 ones that stand out to me that I enjoyed the most as a break from the 41st millennium. So the first game that I would recommend here is one that has become a little bit of an addiction for me for when I need a break from editing or any of the struggles of being an author. and that is Hearts of Iron 4. Hearts of Iron 4 is a World War II grand strategy game by Paradox that I absolutely love. On top of that, there are a lot of mods that also branch away from the traditional World War II sense. You can tackle pretty much any country that existed in the early 40s or the late 30s and lead them through political and economic growth while also building your army and staging for whichever side you want to join in World War II. I've played as Argentina, currently got a game running as South Africa. I've also played as Australia and picked the Japanese side instead of siding with the English. There's a lot of different routes you can go and a lot of fun games you can play that are nearly endless. So much so that one of my favorite content creators, Stakui, literally does that for a living. He plays different variations of Hearts of Iron 4, uses them for historical retellings, historical what-ifs, and it's really, really cool to see and really enjoy. So I always love this game. Plus, it's an easy one to play for a couple hours, put down for a while, and just hop back in later. You don't feel driven. You're not tied to a story or a narrative. It's just a simple sit down and play and enjoy. So for that reason, I always recommend Hearts of Iron 4. The next one is actually a pair of games, but they're very similar, and I really can't figure out which one I like better. Both have different branches. I included both of them here just so you can choose. One leans a little bit more narrative, one leans slightly more strategic, but to me, if you like one, you're going to like both. So I'd pick whichever one you're comfortable with. For example, if you're a big Paradox fan, I would go with Stellaris. Paradox does a bunch of amazing games that I probably could have included on here that I didn't because I didn't want this to be just a Paradox list. So Stellaris is the sci-fi version of Hearts of Iron 4 with a little bit more logistics and build out for galactic travel and communication connection that way. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of really cool factions and politics involved, and I would definitely recommend it. Now, its main competitor is also one of my personal favorites as well, and that is Masters of Orion. Masters of Orion takes a little bit more of a narrative play to it than Stellaris does. Stellaris is a little bit more of a grand strategy overview, while Masters of Orion gives you a little bit more narrative. It's also a very high tier game that I really, really enjoy. So if either of those sound interesting to you, make sure you go check those out as well. I definitely would recommend any of those to Warhammer 40K players. On top of that, both of those games allow you to play as Xenos, so if you're a Xenos player, you can scratch that itch as well. This next game appeals specifically to the Astra Militarum. I'm kidding, everybody loves this game. It's one of the most popular games currently across the board, but if you love the Tempestus Scions, this game is basically the Tempestus Scions, and that's Helldivers 2. If you want to fight for Super Earth, I definitely recommend this. It's one of my favorite games to play. I don't get a chance to play it anywhere near as much as I would like, so I'm nowhere near as good as a lot of people who play it more regularly. Unfortunately, this is one that does require a fair amount of time commitment to level up and grow and kit out your character and get builds to succeed. So it's definitely worth playing. I do love it a lot, but it is a little bit more of a time sink. That being said, you do get a lot more of that immersive feel that leads you to actually building characters. You get more of that hobby feel as well because you can do aesthetic builds as well as strategic builds. So it has a lot of pros to it that I definitely recommend as well. So if you like that kind of stuff, make sure you check out Helldivers 2. Like I said, it's one of the most popular games online right now and has been for a fair amount of time, being one of the primary competitors of Space Marine 2. If you like Space Marine 2, you'll like Helldivers 2. Both have that same style and feel, have a little bit of a narrative to them, and let you really enjoy the game on a different level that gets you very immersed into it. So this next one may be a little bit cheaty. I intentionally did not put any Warhammer 40K games on here, but there's a game series that includes some Warhammer games. that I think are perfect fits for Warhammer 40K players, and that is Total War. Total War has a bunch of different things you can do, whether that be Rome or the Shogunate or the Old World, but you get a pick. One of my favorites is actually Britannia, where you get to pick up the fight during the Viking invasions of Britain, and you get to really dive into that history as well as Total War Rome, which is one of those video games that I've owned for a very long time that I have been addicted to playing since I was maybe 12. Between Total War Rome and Age of Empires, those were what drove me as a kid. Those were the video games I enjoyed playing, at least on PC. I did also love Star Wars Battlefront and games like that as well, which probably could be on this list, but I tried to go with more current games. And Total War has a lot of games that are currently out and currently playable and are a lot of fun. So make sure you go check out the Total War suite. I'm sure they've got discounts constantly. They're kind of like Paradox that way, where they've got so many different games going that I think you guys would probably love. I would just go on Steam and look up Total War, and I would look up Paradox and see what both of those game producers have to offer and check out which ones you're going to enjoy the most. And finally, for the last game on this list, I went much more narrative with it. It's one of my favorite games of all time that I have played to death. I've read some of the books for, and it's a very immersive world similar to Warhammer 40K, and that is Mass Effect. Mass Effect is a brilliant world that I often wonder if it may be the earlier prequels to Warhammer 40K, or at least loosely inspired a lot of the prequels to what we see in the 30th and 41st millenniums. I feel like Mass Effect is very similar. If you like one, you're probably going to like the other. And it's a very narrative-driven game about the human perspective in a galactic war and what it takes to survive. Now, there's a lot of Mass Effect games. I have my personal preferences, but I'll let you guys figure out which ones are yours, because everyone kind of has a different one. There's a few that most people like, but most of the time, we recommend you start with Mass Effect 1, just so you get the depth of the story. The best part about this series is that you're basically an Inquisitor in an Inquisitor novel. You're Eisenhorn, or you're Caiaphas Cain, or you're any of those Inquisitors that have amazing stories with unique parties that build things out and drive everything. You could also be a rogue trader that way as well, depending on how you play the game. So it gives you that Warhammer 40K feel that you know and love, as well as factions that are very similar. You have Cerberus, which is very similar to the Imperium. You have the Reapers that are very chaos-coded, and you have the Geth that are very similar to the Necrons. So you get a lot of the feel and aesthetic you're comfortable with, while still being different enough for Warhammer 40K that you get a nice break from it. Plus, you get some really good stories, as well as a little bit of a deep dive and narrative that can pull you away from those Warhammer books that you're reading incessantly. And everybody, today's video is brought to you by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink company that does a lot of really cool stuff. I'm not a huge energy drink person, but I've come around to these guys. They sent me this cool limited edition flavor that I've really enjoyed so far, as well as a bunch of sampler packs, and my personal favorite, Dubby Hydro. Dubby Hydro is basically Gatorade on steroids without all of the bad chemicals mixed in there. It's been really great to experiment and try that out. And unlike a lot of the super artificial, nasty tasting energy drinks, in my opinion, not a huge fan of Monster or Red Bull, but this nice clean flavor that is very few ingredients. And if we look at, I don't know if you guys can see that there, there's maybe 10 ingredients total, and most of them are fruit extracts that keep you nice and healthy and give you the energy you need throughout your day. So go check them out at w.gg/wargamer, or use the code word wargame in your checkout to get 10% off. There'll be a link down in the description below for the starter kit. You can also get other flavors there as well. I'm a huge fan of those, and I definitely would recommend it. So now that you've got the list of games that I would recommend for Warhammer 40K players, let's talk about maybe which Warhammer 40K players will like which games. So if you're strategic-minded and tactical, you like to mastermind your gameplay and strategize 3 turns ahead, maybe check out Hearts of Iron 4 or Stellaris or Masters of Orion. A lot of those games will play very similar to your style there. If you're an in-the-moment tactician, you like to strategize and feel out the gameplay as it's happening to you and react to things in live action, Total War and Helldivers 2 are probably going to be your best approach. A lot of these people are people who really enjoy the PvP campaigns in Space Marine 2 or enjoy that type of game. And I think you guys will really love those games as well. And finally, for my fellow story-driven guys, there's Mass Effect. Mass Effect is probably one of the best story-driven games that I recommend for 40K players. And if you're one of the people who likes the narrative side or you're big into the lore, Mass Effect's a must. Now, I know a lot of people have already played both. And if you have, let me know in the comments below who is your favorite character and faction in Mass Effect. And if you feel like I missed any of the games, please let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. We have a lot of really cool videos coming. If you ring that little bell, you'll get notified of any more that we have coming out. We're very, very close to hitting 500 subscribers, at which point we'll be able to share the merch store on there, as well as do some lives and different things like that, including getting access to the Am I Lore Accurate shirt and other Readers That Wargame shirts as well. On top of that, we have a new Patreon. It is very, very new, and you'll get early access to videos there, as well as getting to vote on some of the content we have coming up. I do have some deeper dive videos that I want you guys' opinion on, which ones you want to see in the next coming months. So make sure you go check those out. The links are in the description below. On top of that, I do have a partnership with W Energy. So if you want 10% off of that, that link will be in the description below as well. And I will see you guys later.